have been so excited about this, but also not, because we don't have a full hour to talk about this film. But tell us about the story and what drew you to it.
So Goodbye June it's a story that is set at Christmas in England. It's a very sort of typical England. And it's essentially a story of a kind of messy, complicated family of grown adult siblings who all have to come together to deal with the impending loss of the matriarch. And the matriarch loves Christmas and they desperately want to get her to Christmas. But in order to pull that off, they have to figure out a lot of their own internal family stuff that's not good and quite funny because it's not good. And essentially, even though, yes, it's a story about loss, it's more a film about a family and life, actually.
I know. I don't know if you read the card I gave you, but I literally,
did.
At first I was like, oh gosh, I was like, this is gonna deal with death, and it's a little close for home with our family right now, and I was like, I don't know if I wanna take this on, and I kept watching, and I was like, you know what, through all my tears, it is about life and how you're living life instead,
and how life does go on. And because we had 7 children in this film, I had 7 weeks to shoot it. I was absolutely beside myself. And Helen Mirren, who plays the title role of June, I only had her for 16 days, so I couldn't get any of it wrong. But I had these incredible children, one of whom has Down syndrome, my little 5-year-old Benji.
The Benji,
So beautiful, so beautiful, this child. He was just amazing. And, you know, children in life, they bring the joy. And even in moments of tragedy, they'll see what's going on in a grown-up's face, but then they're distracted by the potato chips that are available to them over in the corner, or sneaking
them.
One
sister likes health, and the other one's like, just eat it.
So there's this child who's constantly stuffing potato chips in his mouth. But then they play and they do stickers and they hide in the hospital bed, and children are children.
Putting on plays,
Putting on plays, and because it's set at Christmas, there's this rather wonderful warmth that I think is created by that in terms of our set design. And, you know, a hospital at Christmas, as anyone knows who's gone through this, you know, those hospital staff do everything they can to make it feel as warm and festive for the patients and their families who are spending time in those spaces. And we have a wonderful character, Nurse Angel, who is an end-of-life carer, and his heart and soul is so pure, this actor.
He has one of the best lines in the movie. This doesn't matter.
None of this
matters. So I had no idea. I want you to know, and your son, I had no idea what I was walking into. I literally was letting my dogs out while even the movie started playing in my house last night, so I didn't see the beginning where it said you were directing. I had no idea. I had no idea at that time. I literally fresh walked in and was just like trying to fit it in after putting kids, but there was a lot going on in my house, and Christmas is coming, whatever. And so I came in and I just watched this movie and I was like, oh my God. And then at the end, I was like, oh my God, you directed it? Your son wrote the screenplay?
My son wrote it.
He's so young. I Googled, when I found that out, I was like, he is so young, and did it for a class.
So...
What?
Well, so you met my daughter Mia. She came on the show, and she's just an exceptional young woman.
Your family is annoyingly brilliant.
They are. They are a little bit ridiculous, to be honest.
They are.
But they're very good people, and that's where my pride sits the most of all. And so after Mia turning to acting, Joe, my son, had also done a little bit of acting, but he wasn't sure about that. And he's always been a very good and very passionate writer. And during COVID, certainly in the UK, so many freedoms were taken away from young people of that age group. And so creativity in writing was something that really pulled him through. And he lent on that a lot. And he applied for a place in a screenwriting school. And we were just so proud of him that he had the confidence to even do that coming out of COVID. He got this place, and for an intense 6 months, he was writing a screenplay. That was the assignment. And so he comes to me at the end, and I had no idea what he was writing about. And he comes to me at the end and he's like, I've written this thing, and it's probably, you know, but if you'll, you know, read it and then, you know, lie if you think it's
just lie.
just lie. And I read it, and it was very, very clear to me that this needed to be a film. The characters were so strong. Every character is so different. They all go on their own individual journey. It was so funny. The idea of setting it at Christmas, I thought, was such a brilliant backdrop for this story. And I turned to him and I said, well, we'll make it into a film. And he's like, no, don't do that.
Don't do the mom thing.
the mum thing. It's just an assignment. I just wanted to see if I could even do it and be any good at it at all. Don't do that. And I'm like, no, we're doing it. And so the plan was I was going to produce it, which he didn't believe at all. And a large part of that early process and me getting him to believe I really meant it was to say, OK, come on, sit down. Let's imagine our favourite actors in the world playing these parts. Who are they going to be?
The cast is a dream
Ridiculous.
team. Yes.
Ridiculous. So we made our dream team wish list.
Yeah.
And he's looking at me and he's like, Helen Mirren's never going to say yes. What are you doing? This is like, Mum, just get a grip, he's saying to me.
Does he know who you are, like the weight of that? Like, I just like, what?
No, he just knows me as his mum.
I know, it's just crazy to me. I'm like, well, you make a call, you're you. They probably are going to say yes.
But not necessarily at all. In fact, Helen Mirren was very on the fence because she didn't want to play someone who was dying in any way. And she said,
masterful at it.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
And she said, look, I want to support you. I would absolutely love to do this, and it's a beautiful script. And all these actors said yes.
And with so much personality and charisma. She's so
wonderful. But she's also, Helen Mirren she's the definition of a mensch, and she's so incredibly supportive of other women. I cannot tell you. And having her in that title role, playing this strong matriarch who somehow from that hospital bed sees everything, is still controlling everything, is still able to pull her children together, even though they're struggling. She sees it all. And to me, there's something just so true to life about that.
Okay, so here's the thing.
She's excited.
I
like
am.
this.
It's so good. And it's hard because it's, it is based in grief. And I know that you lost your mother to cancer. How did that affect you doing this? Like, I can barely sometimes talk about certain things that are close to home without breaking down.
I know.
Yeah.
So it was almost impossible to isolate my own experiences, even though my circumstances with my mother and my family were very, very different. Grief just changes shape. It never goes away. And actually losing a parent, I'm going to cry, it's like the North Star falls out of the sky.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Oh, wow.
And you can never find it again. And so in this film, what I really wanted to do when I made the decision to direct it was to hopefully give people a story in which they might see something of themselves or their own circumstances, and just to feel seen and heard, because it's very hard to talk about loss. Sometimes we can't even find the words. And I think with this film, because it has so many characters and you see them all experiencing this impending loss in their own unique ways, actually there's kind of a little bit for everybody to latch onto, whether it's the children, whether it's the father, the brother or the sisters. And it seems to be really be something that people are finding quite cathartic. And I feel proud of that. I feel proud that I did it. If I never direct again, here I am.
Well done.
In the 50th year of my life, I did it, Kelly.
Oh my God, so
I did it.
And you got me crying again. I'm fine. I was like, don't cry. I'm like a contagious crier. I will totally break down. I'm too empathetic. You've said that part of why you hadn't directed before is there was kind of a fear with it. What was the fear behind that?
I definitely did feel nervous stepping into a completely different role. I think it's partly because, it's hard to make films as a woman. We're still trying to change the culture around that. And having spent so much of my adult life advocating for other women, trying to elevate women, particularly in the film industry, moving them into roles that are typically dominated by men, I really had a moment of thinking, hang on, who am I really if I'm not actually doing the thing that matters to me the most in terms of contributing to hopefully changing that culture? I think there's a lot of perception around actresses becoming directors that is a little bit different to our male counterparts. The men are just allowed to get on with it, whereas the women, it's a little bit like, OK, so show us. It's a slight thing. And
performative.
Yeah, and it just, we need to change that, actually.
Yeah.
We just need to change that.
But also, maybe that little rub against it, what I'm saying? Maybe that fight against that is what creates the masterful job that you do. I hate to say that, but it's like, man, if that's what it takes, it's like...
Well, sometimes I think in life, when you feel fear, you just have to run at it. And we all held hands and did that. I had a lot of first-time department heads because I just feel like my son being a first-time writer, me being a first-time director, we simply had to pay that forward. We simply had to offer opportunities to people who may never have thought of themselves in those positions, first-time production designer, first-time costume designer, and a first-time composer who had been all of my children's music teacher at school.
Yeah.
I love the kind of full circle nature of everyone offering somebody else a first-time opportunity, and feeling the energy and excitement was wonderful.
I think also that's the excitement I feel like we all had too in the beginning when we first fell in love with what we do. You know what I'm saying? And it's everything is on the table, every idea is accepted, and it comes together. That's what I think is special about it too, is it is people just being creative instead of thinking, oh, we're going to get the most amazing person to do this and the most amazing person to do this fashion, the most amazing person. And it's like, there's so many amazing people out there doing it, but giving them that shot, and I think created that environment that we kind of grew up in whenever you're first starting to create.
Well, if you think about, you know, someone gave you your first shot. Someone gave me my first shot. You know, all of us here, like, we've ended up making choices in our lives because one person would have said to us, I believe in you.
Yeah.
I think that you can do this. Come on, let's go. And being in a position to be able to show that level of compassionate, kind leadership, it can't be any other way, guys. It's like, that's how I feel life needs to be, is lifting people up and holding their hand and running at something and saying, yes, I'm scared too. I think being open and honest as women and living authentically matters to me so much. So I'm glad that you pick up on all of that.
It's
wonderful.
So amazing. I could talk to you literally for hours, but you know, it's a daytime show. So, so it's always great to have you here. Kate Winslet, everybody. You're incredible. Goodbye, Janice, in select theaters now and on Netflix December 24th.